Hey everyone, it's Alicia from mobilitymastery.com, and this is our second to last fast fascia facts. So we'll have one more in the series and then we'll wrap it up and we'll start a new series. So just to be clear, these facts that I'm putting in these fast fascia facts videos, wow, it's hard to say, is not everything I have to share with you about fascia. I mean, volumes have been written, right, about it by other people. Thomas Myers being one of them. Anatomy trains like huge. But these are, in my opinion, if I had to distill the bullet points and pieces about fascia that I feel are critical for everybody to know, these are them. So I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, give me a thumbs up, but even better, share this video with anyone you think could benefit from it, and comment below because I love talking to you guys. So the purpose of these is to just run through these facts real quick, and then I'm going to extrapolate on them and why I think they're important to know about, and how you can use this information to maybe heal faster or optimize. So, number one, fascia, otherwise known as connective tissue, contains fibroblasts that synthesize collagen and parts of the ECM. So we've covered the ECM before, I think a couple times, and the ECM of course is made up of macromolecules and things like amino acids and other enzymes and other nutrients. So this is just good to know about in connection also to number two. So I'm going to kind of concentrate on pulling them apart and understanding the difference between these two facts and why it's important to actually understand the difference between these two, and then use this information to optimize your body based on whatever's happening for you right now. So number two is that fasciacytes synthesize hyaluronic acid. And we've definitely covered this already, but I wanted to actually bring it back again in a new context because I do think it's worth visiting again and visiting again and again because it's brand new science. I don't even think those people doing the research fully grasp it yet, and I don't know how many facts we can actually count on from those studies, so I am going to extrapolate from my experience what I believe are critical differences between these two and how you can use it to optimize. And then number three is a really interesting one that I think we should all consider if we're addressing our fascia, which is that fascia has a proof resilience of 2,000 pounds. So proof resilience means there's resilience, which is a scientific term, and then proof resilience. So proof resilience means the maximum amount of energy or force that a given substance can absorb and then absorb elastically, and then unload without deforming. So fascia should be able to withstand 2,000 pounds of force or energy coming into it, and then it'll elastically absorb it, right? And then unload it without deforming. So this is really, really, to me, this is fascinating, and it creates debates and discussions within the world of fascia because a lot of people have used this scientific fact to say that you can't actually change fascia. It's impossible. It can withstand up to 2,000 pounds of force. So I'm going to come back to that and tell you my thoughts on it, but I'll circle back around now and make my way back down. So collagen is like having a moment, maybe a years-long moment, but I hear Dave Asprey really talking a lot about it. Shout out Dave if you ever watch my videos. I love Dave. He's a wacky guy, but I love him. So collagen, is getting really popular right now with supplementation in various forms. And the reason is it's a critical nutrient that your body uses to repair itself. So collagen is actually the most abundant protein in your body, and it is composed in part of amino acids, and then it exists in abundance in your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, your spine, and even your blood vessels, and definitely your gut. So collagen is really critical, and your body will use your available collagen stores to repair tissue as well as your joints. And if you think about, like the strain and stress you put your body through with not moving and being sedentary, or moving a lot and playing sports, and some of the injuries that you've endured, you can probably imagine, I think, the importance of having abundant collagen stores. The really amazing thing is that your body can produce its own collagen stores, and you can assist it to do that. And it's the fibroblasts within fascia that actually synthesize collagen. And studies have shown that pin and stretch methods of manual therapies or modalities that target fascia or connective tissue tend to activate fibroblasts. So I'm going to actually come back to this one and kind of talk about 1 and 2 together, because I kind of can't talk about them without addressing the other. And the important thing for me here for you to help you understand is the difference between these two, and knowing when to utilize activation of fibroblasts versus activation of fasciacytes, depending on your body, your fascia, and your goals. So we'll come back to number 2 here, fasciacytes. They synthesize hyaluronic acid, and I want to take this opportunity to say that I've been in some of my emails and other videos, previous videos to this one, talking about fasciacytes and them responding to compression and shearing. And I wanted to say, based on a couple questions from you guys, YouTube users, that I want to give credit where credit is due, and I've been crediting Carla Stecco for some of this knowledge, but I also want to make sure that I'm not crediting her with a theory that actually isn't hers, that maybe she doesn't even believe or want to support. I don't really know. But I got the shearing thing from reading, kind of going down the rabbit hole when I was researching Fasciacytes earlier in 2019, when another one of you amazing YouTube viewers, readers, sent me the research paper. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I was reading blog posts and watching interviews of people who attended the Fascia Research Congress last year. And somewhere in there, I read a couple different places that this new information would challenge manual therapists to perhaps change their methods based on what we're finding out about fasciacytes, because, and I can point to one article for sure that says this, but I can't verify that Carla Stecco said this right now. I actually went and looked and tried to find that. So I'm just trying to be super clear here about my resources. But I'll link to the blog post below this video that says this, but it was 5 amazing facts from the Fascia Research Congress or something like that. And one of them was that fibroblasts respond to pin and stretch, whereas fasciacytes respond to shear. So I'm not sure where they got that, but I've been crediting Carla Stecco, maybe wrongly, I don't know. I would love to credit her if she is saying this. However, I will take this opportunity to say that it's definitely my theory. So now I'm going to take the liberty to theorize based on the research I'm doing and also what I experience in my private practice, that these two things feel important to separate and understand, because if fasciacytes synthesize hyaluronic acid and perhaps are activated by a different mechanism than fibroblasts, which synthesize collagen, the reason you want to know about this is because while collagen is really important, I believe what's even more important for human health is cellular hydration and having a high water content. Not like over the maximum, right, of 70%. You don't want to be 90% water. You'd go back to being like a baby. Babies are like 93% water. But you want to be at that 70%, range, in that 70% range. Because it's actually that high water content that creates this. So all of these kind of go together. that high water content is really what allows your fascial system to absorb mechanical stress coming into the body, to allow you to stand on your feet all day if you have a job that forces you to be on your feet without damaging anything, because you can absorb the stress of your body hitting the ground, but you can also run, you can run down mountains, you can hike, you can jump out of trees, you can do parkour, right? There's so many things that you can do without any damage whatsoever to any part of your body when you have a high water content. So that high water content, I believe, is really critical, and that hyaluronic acid content is also really critical. Hyaluronic acid is equally important to healing at the cellular level and repairing, in particular, joints. So whereas collagen is a bit more important to think about in terms of your tendons and ligaments, and maybe those blood vessels and your gut lining, hyaluronic acid is going to be really critical for the synovial fluid in your joint and actually repairing your joints to glide properly and not have pain. And most people, when they get injured, putting it in quotations because sometimes it's an actual injury and sometimes it's just pain, often feel pain or an injury in their joint, right? So we've got knee pain, we've got hip pain, we've got SI pain, we've got spinal back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, right? It's rare that you'll say, I have a pain right here in the middle of my forearm, or I have a pain right here in the middle of my thigh. It does happen, but I would classify that as a soft tissue pain, which is totally different and has a completely different, like a different trigger and also a different mechanism for healing, in my opinion. It's still going to involve fascia release to a degree, but this is why I think it's so important to understand the difference between the two. So if you are constantly activating fibroblasts but never activating fasciacytes, and you become more collagen than hyaluronic acid and water, and by the way, I don't think I said it yet in this video, but it's the hyaluronic acid that imbibes the water you drink, thus hydrating you at the cellular level. It's problematic in my opinion because you don't necessarily want to be more fibrous than watery. So you want a good ratio there. So we need both. It's about balance, but it's about putting things in their rightful place and honoring our natural state of optimal well-being. So again, my theory is that to activate these fasciacytes, we want to shear dense areas of fascial, ropey areas, right, or dense areas of deep fascial adhesions, whereas a lot of the fibroblasts are going to get activated up, maybe more in the superficial fascia, and definitely some in the deep fascia, or more towards a joint, where the fascia of the musculature is coming out of the musculature and turning into the tendon and ligament. So, for example, with my forearm right here, the dense, ropey, thick areas of fascia right near my elbow, it's still fascia. Might need more collagen right there than water per se, but you need both. And another thing you want to think about is that collagen is actually really gluey in nature. It is not, it's not like the hyaluronic acid that imbibes water and thus has that glide. So as we talked about in a previous episode, it's the hyaluronic acid and the fasciacyte that is responsible for fascial gliding, and that is due to the ability of hyaluronic acid to imbibe water and create that watery part of your fascial system. And if you start to lose this and become more this, that's when you get fascial adhesions. That's when you get dense areas that start sticking together because they're gluey. So they're migrating towards each other, maybe due to repetitive motion or stress. And then once they get there, they stick because they're gluey as opposed to watery. If they were watery, they could bump up against each other and not stick to each other. So I hope that's making sense. And every technique that I have here at Mobility Mastery really focuses more on shearing than just compression or pinning and stretching. But we inevitably always include a pin and stretch because we're compressing tissue and moving. So you're getting both with my method of fascia release. One way I would recommend you consider taking this information and running with it for your body, because we're all different, is when you do fascia release from now on, or maybe like this week after watching this video, notice when you do the fascia release in different parts of your body, whether you feel like you're more dense and fibrous than watery. Some of you might actually find that you're more watery than fibrous and dense, and maybe you need to focus a bit more on trying to activate those fibroblasts to get the collagen to build up strong tendons and ligaments that can withstand a lot of repetitive motion or whatever sports you do or stress or whatever. And some of you might need to focus a lot more on getting a higher water content. So I know that's like a lot of information, but this feels like if I had to maybe pick only 3 things to focus on with fascia, and only do one fascia fact with 3 of the most important, I think these might be it, because this kind of sums up so much of fascia for me. So let's get to number 3. Did you know that fascia should be able to withstand, or can, when it's optimized, withstand 2,000 pounds of force? So that'd be, I don't know, like how much does a baby elephant weigh? I don't even know. But no human, really, I don't think if there's a human that exists that weighs 2,000 pounds. So I weigh 160-ish, and I can put my full body weight on my clients, like on their IT bands, on their quads, on their adductors. And if they're optimized, it doesn't hurt at all. There's zero sensation because their body is absorbing the mechanical stress of me entering their energy field, right, their fascial system, and it's distributing that mechanical stress through their whole body. But if you have unhealthy fascia, or if you are more fibrous than water content, when you go to put weight on fascia or compress it, whether it's me standing on you or you getting on a foam roller, if it hurts, it's unhealthy. It's not optimized. So let's talk for just a second about this idea that if it's supposed to withstand 2,000 pounds of force, can it actually be changed? I mean, I think it's a relevant question and a really good question. I would tend to agree for the most part. This is why I put such a huge emphasis on shearing and active movement on the part of the person needing the benefit to do that work, to actually activate their fascial system and their muscle system to create movement under compression. Because when you engage the fascial system in this process of release and actually allow it to change itself, things happen a lot faster and with a lot less resistance. So while this is called resilience, right, it's our ability to not damage ourselves by taking on a temporary stress, I also think there's some built-in resistance that fascia has because it's designed to protect us. So it was designed by nature to absorb that stress for us to prevent us from being damaged. So it's naturally going to resist that damage, right, or AKA change. But if you recruit the fascia to change itself, now it starts to have some consciousness in the matter, for lack of a better word. I just believe, kind of metaphorically, anytime, whatever it is that needs change to happen, if that thing, that person, that tissue changes itself, it's a lot more longer lasting and permanent than something else trying to get it to change through force. So to me, this is the big difference between, attempting to have someone else change your fascia, whether it's a therapist or one of those nifty guns now that I see everywhere that people are using. I don't believe we can simply apply a little gun to our fascia and actually change it. It might help the nervous system to an extent, it might feel kind of good, but the fascia will likely resist whatever that is until you recruit it. But this is also how you know you have healthy fascia. So you want to work up to a point where you can put a lot of weight on whatever area you are working on and have it not feel like anything. It should feel like nothing. So if it hurts, it means it's unhealthy. And I have 4 phases that I usually tell people fascia goes through when you're first starting fascia release. So if right now maybe you just found me, or maybe you've been here for a while and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. Raise your hand if that's you. I totally feel you right now. If it sucks, great, you're in phase 1. So sucks a lot is phase 1. Sucks a lot less is phase 2. So you're going to notice that it sucks a lot less than when you first started, but it's still kind of sucky, right? It doesn't feel pleasant necessarily. Some people like it. I like how some of it feels and not other parts of my body. And then it feels good. It feels kind of good. So it goes sucks a lot less, feels kind of good. Like there's actually a pleasurable component. And then it feels like nothing, like no sensation, like devoid of sensation. And it's that sensationless fascia when you compress it with a lot of weight. So for example, if you're like wanting to test your fascia's proof resilience, you wouldn't just put 10 pounds on your fascia, right? I mean, to really test it, you'd need to put, I guess, 2,000 pounds. I've never done that. I've put my full body weight on people before, and that's a lot of weight. So I'm not saying to do this. I'm just saying use a lot more weight than you maybe think to. So as you're doing fascia release, you want to add more and more and more weight whenever possible, because that's how you optimize. Now, unfortunately, with self-help, there's only so much weight you can get, because it's your body part on a ball, or it's your body, your quad, the weight of your quad, or your thigh on a foam roller, right? And we try to kind of like angle ourselves to maybe get more weight in there, but there really is like an end point of only so much weight we can get. So the next best thing is, in my opinion, to learn kinetics partner fascia release. So you can do it at home with a partner where you're actually learning to step on each other. So yes, I'm going to take this opportunity to do just a shameless plug here. That course doesn't open all the time. So the next time you actually see open enrollment, it may only be once a year that we do that. So I would jump on that, because that's your chance to actually get in there and learn how to be stepped on and step on someone else in your life. And then it's going to be like the maximum weight is the weight of your partner. Way more effective than working on your own body. However, the self-helps work really well as a beginning place. So that was a lot of information, I know. I would love to hear from you on any of this. I know these kind of like all 3 go together, so I'm not going to ask you to separate. Just give me your aha right now here at the end. Your takeaway, and then what you're going to do to use this information to optimize your body. You know what? I actually do want to ask you, if you know this answer while you're watching this, or you want to test it a little bit by doing some fascia release and then coming back, this is my own way of doing research. So we can be citizen scientists together right now if you're willing to do this with me. I would love to hear from you if you feel like you're more in the camp of your connective tissue or fascial system is a bit more fibrous and dense and lacking water content right now, or whether it maybe feels a little like slippery, watery, not dense enough, I don't know. So which camp are you in, and which one do you want to work on? That's what I would love to hear from you. So share that below in the comments. If you are brand new to my channel, or brand new to fascia release, or maybe you've been here a while and you're struggling with wondering if you're doing it right, I have a free gift for you. You can click the link below this video and grab my PDF download that will walk you through mastering the basics of fascia release. It's a beginner's guide to fascia release. We've actually linked to all the basic techniques I want you to master first that really will help you understand your body, a little bit about your overall fascial system, your nervous system, and help you understand how to do it safely for your body and effectively. And then once you master those basics, you can kind of go off the map and create your own kind of version of doing fascia release at home that might look a little different than these guidelines and rules that I really want everyone to follow when they're first starting. So grab that by clicking the link below. You'll also get a few other free resources as well. But there we go. We have one more episode of Fast Fascia Facts next week, so I'll see you on that one. And thanks for nerding out with me. All right, see you guys.